People sit here and say, oh, of course you be caping for Puffy. You're a black man. Can't be because I studied. Can't be because I researched. Can't be because I actually care about justice. Can't be because of any of these things. Has to be because I'm just a black man, so I must be going for the black guy. Think about it. It doesn't make any sense. If it's not making sense, somebody's making dollars. And in this case, it's those media outlets that you guys run to for your news. Jay here, Conversations with Jay. I give it to you straight, no chase. I don't know how to fake. It's not in my DNA. So this past Friday, which was yesterday, I'm recording this on Saturday, I had some interesting conversations. I didn't realize that people still thought that there was some sort of extortion going on. Remember, extortion is one of the RICO predicate acts. And you keep hearing me talk about these RICO predicate acts, but basically, for those of you guys who do not know, in order to prove RICO, you have to prove a pattern of racketeering, which means a pattern of bad behavior. And that pattern of bad behavior is defined of breaking 2 of 35 specific offenses within a 10-year span. And once you have that, then you have one of the elements of RICO, which to me is really the only solid defining element of RICO. So if you guys are hearing people talk about the RICO predicate acts and all these crimes and what is included in the predicate act and what is not, that's the reason why. Because, for example, you could have possession of drugs in your home. You could be found with drugs, but that's not one of the 35 offenses under the RICO predicate acts, right? You could also assault somebody, but that's not one of the 35 offenses under the RICO predicate acts, unless, of course, that assault is through trying to tamper with a witness or something like that. That's a little bit different. But there's a lot of different things that you can do that are illegal. But unless it's one of those 35 offenses, it doesn't go toward the RICO charge. Now, one of those predicate acts is extortion. And I didn't realize this, but a lot of people are thinking or saying or feel like Sean Puffy Combs extorted Cassie's mother. This is a real interesting one. I did not know that this was still a thing. I thought that was killed a long time ago, but let's get into it. Let's explore today what extortion is, and let's explore today what the mother's testimony was. And let's explore today how all of this goes together in the theory that there was extortion going on between Sean Combs and Regina Ventura, which is Cassie Ventura's mother. So let's put up what the definition of what extortion is. I want you to read it, see. It's called the Hobbs Act, which this is from the U.S. Department of Justice. And so this is directly from there. So this is the Hobbs Act. Let's read that real quick.
So the 2403 Hobbs Act, extortion by force, violence, or fear. In order to prove a violation of Hobbs Act extortion by the wrongful use of actual or threatened force, violence, or fear, the following questions must be answered affirmatively. Did the defendant induce or attempt to induce the victim to give up property or property rights?
What should be money, right? In this case, they say that he extorted the mother for $20,000.
Did the defendant use or attempt to use the victim's reasonable fear of physical injury or economic harm in order to induce the victim's consent to give up property?
Which is basically them saying that he said he would release a sex tape if he didn't get $20,000 from her.
Was the defendant's actual or threatened use of force, violence, or fear wrongful?
I mean, if you're putting out the tapes, yeah, for sure, it's wrongful. If you're using revenge porn, of course, that's wrongful. If you guys are following along, you can always go back and screenshot these portions of the definition of the Hobbs Act. People are basically saying that what Sean Puffy Combs did was tell Cassie's mother that if you do not give me $20,000, I will put out sex tapes of her. There's a lot of people that have issues with me when I speak to them. And their issue that they have with me is I cut them off. The reason why I cut you off is because when you start to build your point on something that's incorrect in the first place, it's a waste of my time to hear the rest of what you want to say. So I usually just try to explain, okay, wait, you're building on something that's fugazi. So let's start on something that we can both agree on that is true. And then we can have a discussion from there. And the reason why I bring that up is because I was having discussions with people the other day, and I stopped them as soon as they were saying, well, he told Cassie's mother he's going to put out an SEX tape, and unless she gives him $20,000. That was never in the testimony. That was never something that happened. So they're building this point on what extortion is and if this is extortion or not extortion and stuff like that. But you're starting from a point that never happened. So I have to stop you because we need to start here with what actually happened. What actually happened in Cassie's mother's testimony, Regina Ventura, if you could put up that email on the screen. We got that email. Put up that email for me. And the prosecution, they asked her about this particular email. And do you recognize this email from Cassie to you? I want to just tell you guys how this all went down in the beginning, how it started. Puff introduced Kid Cudi to Cassie. He said, you guys should work in a studio together. Obviously, this is his record label. He probably paid for the studio time, or at least the record label paid for their time together. The beats, the producers, the studio time, the sound engineers, all of those people who are part of this session. Okay, so he invested in Cassie, and he said, I think you should make music with Kid Cudi. During that time they spent with each other, she started cheating on him with Kid Cudi. So these are the facts, okay? She, according to Kid Cudi and according to Puff, played both of them. Kid Cudi said this on the stand when I believe it was Brian Steele that cross-examined him, said, she played both of you, didn't she? And Kid Cudi said, yes. She lied to me and she lied to him. So she was saying to him that she was only with him, and she was saying to me that she was done with him and she was only with me. And I was surprised to find out that that wasn't the truth. Kid Cudi's under the impression that he's the only guy. Puff is under the impression that he's the only guy. Cassie has a secret phone where Capricorn Clark actually brought her to buy the secret phone so she could secretly talk to Cudi. And maybe even other men, who knows? But we know Cudi for sure. I just find it hard to believe that you have a secret phone and you only have one contact in the entire phone. But who knows exactly what was going on? But what we do know for sure is that she had this phone and she was communicating with Cudi with this phone. Puff finds out, goes crazy, as many people would when they feel like they've been being lied to. They find out that for months, their partner, somebody that they consider their partner at least, is doing something behind their back. Okay? They're doing something behind your back. They feel betrayed. They go crazy. In his tantrum, whether it was a warranted tantrum or a not warranted tantrum, in his tantrum, he started making threats. I'm going to put up your SEX tapes. I'm going to put one out just before Christmas and ruin your Christmas. I'm going to put out one after Christmas, just before New Year's. It's not even going to be done. And I'm going to, according to this email that we're going to look at, I'm going to hurt you and Cudi. And I'm not even going to be in the country when it happens. I don't have to do it myself. He's making all these threats. He's angry and he's just going at her. Okay. She gets scared and she tries to get ahead of it, or at least get some sort of proof and evidence that this is what he's saying he's going to do, just in case it happens. This is like those true crime stuff. And they say, if anything happens to me, it was my husband. Make sure you look into him, right? If anything happens to me, I'm telling you, it was him. I watch a lot of true crime stuff. And that's what they do, right? They try to get ahead of it so that the person can't get away with it. And this is going to actually lead into arson stuff because it's really interesting. So she sends an email to her mother and CCs his assistant, Puff's assistant, Capricorn Clark, saying that all this stuff is being threatened. And this is what this email is. So this is the email. There's something and redacted, okay? It says to mom, new email. So I guess the mother had two, and you can see it CC's Capricorn Clark, which is one of his assistants. And you see the subject line on that email is threats. And it doesn't even look like she even reread this email. Put a comment in the chat if you remember when your iPhone mail app used to look like this. It says, the threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he, okay? Again, like I said, looks like she didn't even read this over. Maybe she sent it so frantically because she was so upset and scared because he was so angry that she just wanted to get this out. That he is going to release 2 explicit tapes of me. One on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another one sometime soon after that. He has also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Muscati physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when he did it. So I don't know if that was the entire email, but that's a screenshot portion. Now, it would mean that she would have had to screenshot this. Because if she screenshotted it now, the iPhone software actually wouldn't look like this. So she's sending this email out. And if you see it says blackberry.net, which tells you the time this was because this is sent to a BlackBerry. She's sending this email out December 23rd, 2011, and taking a screenshot of the email that she sent, documenting these threats. I want you guys to remember this method of operation for later. Okay. You'll notice she even says stuff like Scott Muscati. She didn't even say Kid Cudi. She didn't even say Scott. She wants you to know the specific person that she's speaking about in case this email has to go to law enforcement or go to a lawyer or some sort of something like that. She's CCing the assistant. She's putting Sean Puffy Combs instead of just saying Sean. She clearly wants people to know who these people in this situation are, whether that will be a lawyer for the future or whether that will be a law enforcement officer or something, because she actually, to me, she believes that he may do these things. And she wants this to be documented if he goes ahead and does these things. So now that we understand the SEX tapes and the threats of releasing those, we understand that that is not saying anything to do with extortion. This threat is not attached to do this or I'll do this. The email has nothing to do with extortion. The email does not say do this or I will do this. If you don't do this, then these are the threats. These are just threats, period. Because he's angry that he found out that his girlfriend was cheating on him for months, had a whole nother boyfriend that he introduced the person to. Okay. Let's get into a piece of the testimony from Regina Ventura that addresses this email. And we'll see three main things that I want you guys to look at. Three main things. This is just a piece of Regina Ventura's testimony. If you guys want to go and check out the entire thing, you can go and check out the entire thing by getting the transcripts. AUSA, just so you guys know who that is, that's the prosecution. So Regina Ventura says, she said Sean Combs threatened to release a SEX tape and go after her and Mr. Muscati. That is exactly what happened in the email. Because they put this email up before. This email is part of the evidence. If you saw the email on the top right, you see that little yellow thing on that email. That means that it's been entered into evidence by the government in this case. So the first thing I want you guys to know is that Regina Ventura, number one, was referring to the email that was sent to her. This is what she's talking about in her testimony. The prosecution says, how did you react? This is the second thing that I want you guys to pay attention to. She goes, it made me sick. And without another question from the AUSA, she volunteers this information. Sean Combs demanded $20,000, he said, to recoup losses due to Mr. Muscati from my husband and myself. This right here shows how much these witnesses are meeting with the prosecution to get their stories to go the way that they want them to go. They practice this so much that Regina Ventura, without being asked, already knew where the direct examination was going, and already, without being asked, started volunteering something that had nothing to do with how did you react. Nothing to do with how did you react. The question was, how did you react? And you're talking about $20,000. So it just goes to show me that Regina Ventura has been meeting with them and she knows where it's going already. Now, why would the prosecution have this order in the line of questioning? Because they want you guys to run with SEX tape, gonna go out, $20,000. I have to send it. And fill in all the blanks. which is exactly what the major media outlets and also a lot of these foolish YouTube accounts started doing. I even saw it on the Breakfast Club. Oh, he told the mother, give me 20K or he's going to release it. This is not what happened. This is not what happened. Yet you guys, not our listeners, not our viewers, but the ones that follow the masses, not realizing that the M is silent. All of you guys look like asses. When you guys come to me and start saying, well, what about the extortion? What about the $20,000 that he demanded from her? And if he didn't, then he was going to send up the tapes. This is not what happened. You guys are feeling and drawing a connection that was not there. It was never there. There's a third thing in the little piece here. The third thing I want you guys to see is demanded $20,000. He said to recoup losses due to Mr. Miscuddy. This is very important because it wasn't $20,000 for nothing. It was $20,000 to recoup losses. And it says from Mr. Miscuddy, which to me is Puffy's method of operation. It's also Cassie's method of operation, and let me explain. Puffy basically pays for Kid Cudi to get in the studio with Cassie. He pays through his company, Bad Boy. He pays for them to be working on music together to benefit her career. She starts getting him. He finds out and wants the money back that he spent in getting them in the studio together, and maybe whatever other money she didn't recoup. For those of you guys who do not understand what recoup means, for example, you'll sign a record deal, then that record company will give you X amount of money up front, and then it's your job to either sell records, sell tickets, sell merch, do all that kind of stuff, make appearances, be paid for stuff, and then that money goes back to the record label so they can get paid for the money that they already fronted you. Now, Puff being her record label exec, but also being her boyfriend, he was saying, I don't care, baby girl, you don't recoup it, don't worry, I got it. I'll eat that. I'll eat that 20K. But part of that 20K, or maybe all of it, was used to put her in the studio with the guy she started cheating on you with. And his thing is, I didn't do that for that. I did that to help your career. I didn't do it so you could start getting another dude and be in a whole other relationship with him behind my back. So give me that money back. I'm not paying the difference that you didn't recoup from me because you have no talent. And I'm not making this up. Everybody went to understand. Even her best friends went to understand and said she doesn't particularly have talent. Kevin Clark said it. Deontay Nash said it. There's people saying that she wasn't particularly the hardest worker and she wasn't particularly the best singer or dancer or performer. I mean, that's kind of all there is to being a singer. My point is, he said, you didn't make that money back, but I'm going to cover it, don't worry. But then when he finds out she's cheating, he says, no, I want that money back too. Not the best thing to do, not the most integral thing to do, to start demanding things back from people when they hurt you. But a lot of people have either had it done to them or have done it to people as well. You know what? I did this for you under the impression that you are a good person and you are doing great things. And now I found out that you're not. Give me that back. Should we go around doing that? No. I have a rule personally. If I give you something, it's because I can afford to lose it. So I'm not going to turn around and be like, give me that back. But this seems to be the method of operation for both of them. Because what else happened, guys? He got her a trainer, Mr. Fine, Fine. She's married to that guy right now. She started getting the trainer. Again, a method of operation. She seems to be going with guys that she's working with. The same thing was argued about Michael B. Jordan when she was in South Africa filming the movie, working with him, getting the guy she's working with. So we got Kid Cudi, we got Michael B. Jordan, we got the trainer, God knows who else in between. Her method of operation seems to be getting with the guys that she's working with closely. The trainer was the next one. What did Puffy do when he found out she was the trainer? If you've watched or followed along with the case, he actually started messaging people like, the trainer? Really? Deontay Nash actually testified to text messages that Puff said, the trainer? Really? And then Puff started saying to her and the trainer, I want my refund for the money that I paid you to train her. This is his method of operation. That if he feels like he paid for one thing and then his girl starts going and using what he paid for to satisfy her own sexual desires and romantic desires, then he wants his money back from it. This all makes sense. It all adds up. It's his method of operation. Then he blackballed the trainer. After that, they ended up living in Cassie's mother's home with 2 of their kids before she filed $30 million lawsuit and got up out of the mom's house with her husband and her 2 kids. But my point is, all of this is not illegal. It's not illegal for me to ask you for my money back. It's a bonehead move to do, or a a-hole move to do, but it's not an illegal thing for me to say, give me my money back too. You know, talent, have an ass, give me my money back too. Now, what does all this have to do with Cassie's mother? Well, Cassie didn't have it. Cassie has a daily drug habit, as has been testified to in this court. She can't even recoup the money she's been fronted in the record deal, and she has a daily drug habit. She's doing drugs every day with Brianna, who testified that we would do drugs every day. Brianna went and sold Cassie 300 pills one day. One day, in one occasion, 300 pills. That's like a pill for every day of the week. So she has a drug habit. She's used to living a particular lifestyle, and she probably don't have money like that. So she had to get the money from the parents. Now, what people then turn around and say to me is, oh, but a bad boy sent the money and they asked for the money and they sent instructions to get the money and then the money was returned and blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's get into the next thing about her testimony. We're not going to put it up on the screen. You can look it up yourself. I ain't lying. But you know, I give it to you straight, no chase. I don't fake. It's not in my DNA. Bad boy then sent instructions on how to pay this 20K back to the company. Because obviously not Puff that's paying it. It's the company that did not recoup the 20K. So now the company has to send an invoice for the 20K and Cassie don't got it. So they send instructions to Cassie's mother because Cassie goes, mommy, he's going to do this and he's going to do that and he's going to hurt me and he's going to put out these sex tapes and I'm so upset. And now he's saying he wants his 20K back from the money that wasn't recouped from the deal. So 2 questions. The prosecutor asks Regina Ventura, why did he want this money? Regina Ventura says because he fronted the money or he gave the money, but then she went with another guy. That's the way a mother says, but then she cheated on him. She doesn't want to say that because no mother wants to say, then my daughter cheated on her boyfriend or whatever. So she said, but he was upset that she went with another guy after all that. So that's the first thing. The prosecutor asks her, why did you pay it? And she said, because I was afraid for my daughter's safety. Nothing to do with, well, because he said that I had to pay it or he put out sex tapes. Nothing to do with that. The daughter is in a panic, emailing this stuff to her mother. She's scared. Puff already went to this guy's crib looking for him. According to Capricorn Clark's testimony, went to confront Kid Cudi about it. Okay. And Kid Cudi is also concerned for Cassie, so gets a hotel room for her. This is his testimony. Gets a hotel room to hide her because Puff found out Big Bad Puff is going crazy. The mother's freaking out. He's going to the house. He's threatening my daughter. He already beat her for this. And my daughter sent me this email of him threatening to harm her even more and also harm Cudi. So the mother pays it. And she testified to paying it because she was afraid for her daughter's sake. Why did this money get returned? Because it did get returned. The prosecutor said, and then 4 days later, was that money returned back to you? Yes, it was. We don't know because there was no cross-examination. I'll get to why there was no cross-examination. I don't know, but I can speculate that either Cassie and him made up. We've seen this pattern of behavior in Puff's relationships with women. He says, it's over, this is that, and then 2 twos later, they're together. This happened with Jane Doe a million times. I actually just couldn't keep up on how many times they broke up and made up. And Cassie described their relationship as an on and off relationship herself. So they either made up and she's like, yeah, you know, my mom like sent that money and she had to take it out of the house and take the money as a line of credit on the house. And he said, okay, I'll give it back to her. We're back together. Everything's cool now. So he instructs his CFO to send that money back. My second guess, again, I'm just guessing and speculating here, is that they realized that that money was coming from the mother and not coming from her, and saying, no, we want the money from her. We don't want it from the mother. So they sent it back and maybe requested it to come from her. I don't know. These are things I'm speculating. Nobody knows, because this was not challenged, because there was no cross-examination. Now, let's wrap this up by exploring why there was no cross-examination. Well, that's simple. Because Regina didn't say anything bad or incorrect. She jumped the gun on talking about the $20,000 before she was even asked about it, because she's been practicing and rehearsing and she made a mistake. She's probably nervous. She jumped the gun on that. But really, to me, she actually helped the defense. And here's why. She has another portion in her testimony, again, look it up, in which she said she called the cops because Puff and Cassie were fighting outside of the apartment building that he was renting for her in LA. Arguing in the roundabout in front of the building. She said, Regina Ventura said, D-Rock was holding me back because I was trying to hit Puff. He wouldn't give Cassie her phone back. Now we say, is it really your phone if it's a company phone? Because remember, that's why Capricorn Clark got Cassie a burner phone to talk to Cuddy in. She said, these are bad boy phones. So they'll be able to go into the phone and look at who you're talking to. You can't talk to Cuddy on a bad boy phone. Right? Which also, that whole Capricorn Clark thing, that's another reason why Puff was extremely hurt, because it was not just Cassie that was doing it behind his back, but his most trusted assistant was also helping her to cheat on him. So it hurts twice. That's why he banged on her apartment door with the gun saying, get in the car. And that's when she said he kidnapped her. I mean, if you believe she was kidnapped, you have to believe she was left in the car with a phone, with the doors unlocked, while he left the car. That's what you would have to believe if you believe she was kidnapped. That she could be kidnapped and she was not touched. A gun was not pointed at her. She was left in the car with the doors unlocked, and she was the only one in the car. And the reason why she said that she didn't leave was because of mountain lions. What are we talking? She said she was talking to Lauren London on the phone, explaining everything. And Lauren London probably just said, like, why don't you just get up and walk out? And she said, there's mountain lions. So that's the reason why she didn't just get up and get out of the car. Okay. So we got to believe that that's kidnapping. Okay. You got to really hate Puff and just be a total impartial person to reality, right? In order to make some of this stuff stick, you really have to be that type of person. And if you are, thank God you're not on the jury. All right. Look, rewinding back to this whole phone situation where he took Cassie's phone. Regina Ventura said he wouldn't give her her phone back. And so I was trying to hit him. And D-Rock had to hold me from attacking him. If I'm on the jury, this goes to exactly what the defense was saying the entire time. This is a whole toxic relationship. Like, now the mother's getting involved and the mother's trying to attack the boyfriend. Do you know of any relationship where the mother tries to attack the boyfriend that is not a toxic relationship? Oh, wait. Like, you're fighting in public, in front of the building, not even in the apartment, outside on the roundabout where the cars come in, the public area of the building, and you take her phone and she's trying to get her phone. Then the mother gets involved and the mother tries to attack you and the bodyguard has to hold them back, the mother. And this is obviously not happening in silence. They're yelling, of course. If they're trying to attack each other, they're yelling in commotion and screaming at each other. This just goes to exactly what the defense was saying in the opening statements. This is a toxic relationship that just was horrible, drug-infused, and just a bad situation for everyone. If you want to believe of Brianna's testimony where they're throwing knives, they would have knife fights and she's throwing knives at him, he's throwing knives at her. If you want to believe Cassie's testimony when she says, I would hit him too, like, it doesn't sound like a poor me, I'm trapped and I'm being SEX trafficked. It doesn't sound like that to the jury. This is a New York jury. This is not a Santa Barbara, California jury. I just want you guys to remember these things. If I'm the defense, what do I have to say to her? She's already helped enough. That's the stuff you were going to try to say about extortion? No, clearly it's not. And that's the stuff you were going to try to say about abusive relationship? No, the mother is trying to attack the boyfriend. And now I go and tear this woman to shreds after her daughter's emotional testimony. How does that help me? So everybody's like, the defense didn't cross her because there was nothing they could say or nothing they could do. Do you know who these lawyers are? Go look them up. These aren't rookie lawyers. Look up Puffy's defense team. I encourage you to research each individual one of them and find out who they are. This is not no, oh, damn, there's nothing I can say to that. Got to take that L. Come on, guys. If this man walks, it's not because the jury's dumb. It's not because somebody cheated. It's not because of any of that. It's because this defense team did an incredible job in showing the jury what is really going on. Through their lens, the defense team thinks that this is the situation based on their countless hours and speaking with him. Remember, Agnifilio has been Puff's lawyer for years. He didn't just hire him. He's been his lawyer. He's been his trusted advisor. He knows this guy. And he knows all the stuff that we don't even know about him because they have attorney-client privilege. So Puff can go to him with anything, say, I did this, or I'm thinking about doing this, or can I do this, or this is what's going on. And he's been working with Puff for this entire time. This is not somebody he just hired off the street that didn't have any questions for the mother because, oh my gosh, we got to take that L. Stop it, guys. Please stop. And I just want to challenge you guys with one more thing. As it pertains to this extortion, it was said, why would he extort the mother for $20,000? That's like $50 to him. That's like $5 to him. Why would he even do that? My uncle always says, when things don't make sense, somebody making dollars. Answer the question. Ask yourself why he would do that. That doesn't make any sense that he would do that. Oh, just because he's an a-hole, that's why. He's a jerk. That's why he would do that. No, because that's not what happened. Think about it logically. The story that the media people are telling you is, give me $20,000 or I'm going to put out your SEX tapes. If $20,000 is $50 to this guy, then he could just put out the SEX tapes. He could just put them out. He don't need $50 to do it. I repeat, if $20,000 is $50 to this guy, then that's not going to be what he says I need to put out these tapes. So think about it. It doesn't make any sense. If it's not making sense, somebody's making dollars. And in this case, it's those media outlets that you guys run to for your news. They're making all the dollars by selling you salacious nonsense. But if you would just stop following the masses and realize the M is silent, you would stop looking like an ass. I encourage you guys, 100% of the time, challenge, think for yourself, push past these narratives, think logically, reality. Because if you don't think, they will think for you. And if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. People sit here and say, oh, of course you be caping for Puff. You're a black man. I got that in the comments the other day. They said, of course I be caping for Puff. I'm a black man. I don't know why that's a thing. I feel like I'm making it very clear that I'm caping for justice. That what I really want is to be allowed the opportunity to study the facts, look at it for myself, do my own research, and come up with a logical, thoughtful opinion. And not have to go with your narrative, or else you're going to shame me for being black and a man. And that's the reason why. Must be because I'm a black man. And that's why. Can't be because I looked at the facts. Can't be because I studied. Can't be because I researched. Can't be because I actually care about justice. Can't be because of any of these things. Has to be because I'm just a black man, so I must be going for the black guy. Like I always sign these videos off, be great. Being great is a choice. It's a responsibility for you and the ones that are around you. So go and be great.